Well, good evening. Meteorologist Zach Gilday here. Just doing a quick Facebook Live update because we do have storms chances tonight, and some of these storms could be severe. So currently, it's tracking storms across Kansas and looking pretty mean, and they are moving our way. So going to time those out in just a second. In between shows here, we're doing Fox 24 live coming up pretty soon here. So I'll log off once we go live there. But right now, just in between shows, and we can see the headlines for tonight: storm chances increase with severe weather possible. So, going to have to watch the radar closely as we go throughout the overnight hours. But it sure was a nice day because we did have those morning showers, and today's highs in Northwest Arkansas were in the mid 80s. So yeah, it was a nice day in Northwest Arkansas. And right now, feeling pretty good. So for this time of year, not too bad. Mid 70s, Bentonville with that calm breeze. So a nice evening. Fort Smith, a tad warmer, but the whole forecast area right now is looking pretty quiet. So just a partly clear sky. But if you look off to the north and west, here are these storms that I'm tracking across Kansas and looking pretty active. So seeing multiple severe storms, expecting storms to move in tonight into early tomorrow morning. So tracking those out, here's just one model showing those storms moving in. So here is the HRRR and 12 a.m. still well west of us. But as we enter the late night into early morning hours, here is Sunday, 3 o'clock in the morning, storms right on the doorstep, and then should be moving in around 3, 4, 5 a.m. So late tonight into around daybreak Sunday, storm chances back in the forecast. So getting some comments about specific areas, and it's looking pretty much like the whole forecast area having storm chances late tonight into early tomorrow morning. So here's 8 a.m. Sunday showing those storms right over us. And then even into the late morning, storm chances linger, and then even into the early afternoon, might see a few storms. So looking like a potentially active night. There's just one other model that was the graph model showing those storms rolling in about the same time. So here's the latest risk. So the level 3. That does include Fayetteville. Penny's asking about Bentonville. Yeah, Bentonville looks to be like it's in the enhanced risk, and what the enhanced risk means is that we could see some severe storms tonight into early tomorrow morning. And the main hazards here look to be the damaging winds and the large hail. So, again, timing late tonight into early tomorrow morning. So, yeah, getting a question from Lisa about Bella Vista. Yeah, Bella Vista definitely having these storm chances increasing as we go throughout the overnight hours. And here is the main hazard. So, looking like another wind event for us. So we could see some substantial winds, potentially maybe up to 70 miles per hour. So could see some considerable winds as we go into the late night hours. Secondary hail, secondary flooding possible because we did see that rain this morning. Ground pretty saturated, so we can't rule out some flooding with some heavy showers. But the good news is, though, it looks to be moving through quickly. So the flooding threat not all that high. Tornado threat can't be ruled out. So again, very low for that tornado threat, but still going to have to be monitoring that as we go throughout the night. And here's one last look at that timing. Northwest Arkansas peaking 80% during the late night hours, so around 5 a.m. to around daybreak, seeing an 80% chance of storms, and then that storm chance does decrease pretty sharply as we go throughout the morning hours tomorrow. And then during the afternoon, should actually shape up to be a nice day. So yeah, we are pretty active because the high pressure ridge no longer over us, currently over the desert southwest with a jet stream over us. That is giving us that active pattern. So storm chance is going to be on the increase for us. Going to be a more active forecast as we go into next week. And the good news is, though, with these storms, we are going to be seeing cooler weather. So it was very hot last week. We're going to be in the mid 80s. So feeling nice, but the forecast looking a little active. So again, tonight's some severe storms possible with that 80% chance of storms late tonight into early tomorrow morning. Tomorrow's forecast, storm chances linger into the early afternoon, mainly AM for those storms. So, yeah, that's pretty much what's going on. Severe storm chances back in the forecast tonight. Let me give you another look at those storms. Let me go back to the satellite radar. So yeah, right now taking a look at those storms currently in central Kansas. So if I get rid of that and go now and take a zoom in, yeah, these storms mean business. So that's darker polygon, that kind of orange polygon, that is a considerable tag for storms. So that means that 70-mile-per-hour winds are occurring in that area. So very strong storms across Kansas, and they are quickly moving our way at about 50 miles per hour. So if I get a storm track on that, I can kind of get a general idea of when these storms might be coming in. So you can see moving pretty quickly, making some serious ground here. And if I make a storm track, make that 50. That general track. Yeah, gonna be moving in around 4, 5 a.m. So again, it's gonna be a late night event for us tonight. So again, right now it's all quiet. Storms well north and west of us, currently over central Kansas. So they have a lot of ground to cover, but they are traveling fast, producing those winds. And you can see that yellow polygon right there. That is actually a severe storm watch. And that is in effect for until 3 o'clock in the morning. So that cluster isn't going to be near us until around 4 or 5 a.m. But if you look just to the north of us in portions of southeastern Kansas, seeing a little bit of storm activity. Now, those are not severe, but definitely worth watching. And one thing that could limit the potential of these storms is that the atmosphere was worked over pretty well earlier during the morning because we had a whole lot of rain, especially in northwest Arkansas. And right now, the instability isn't very high, so that's going to be a mitigating factor for our severe storm potential. But still worth noting because there is a piece of energy across Kansas making its way towards us. So Quinn's asking if I think they'll issue a watch. Well, if they do, it's going to be a little bit later. I think that that they're going to see if these storms hold together, and if they do, I think they might issue a watch. But if they're obviously on a weakening trend, they probably won't. There is a lot of uncertainty with these storm chances as we go throughout the overnight because the models have been handling the situation poorly, especially when there's subtle energy. With the models just don't handle it well, and that seems to be the case again tonight. So again, the models, I don't think any model showed the morning rain that we saw this morning. We had about a 30% chance of the storms that rolled through earlier this morning, and the models weren't really even showing that. So right now, the model is in pretty good agreement with the storms moving in 4 to 5 a.m. So that's why I'm saying 80% chance of storms. The question is, are these storms going to hold together and stay strong? So yeah, Jeremy, the models have not been good this summer. It's made our job in the weather lab pretty difficult. So, but one thing with this event, the models seem to be, showing the same timing. So they seem to be pretty consistent with the timing. So that's why my confidence is pretty high with the storms rolling in. But the intensity is the question. I think that we will see rain. The intensity of these storms is going to be the question for us. So, but the SPCs sure are not backing down. So again, here is the latest risk for us. Having portions of northwest Arkansas, Washington County, Benton County in the enhanced risk. So that is a level 3 risk. That means numerous severe storms. So I guess their thinking is that these storms hold together. And then weakening as they travel east. Again, timing going to be late tonight. So Berry County has to be watched, Steve. I do think that they're going to see storm chances because if you were paying attention to that to the current position of the storms in Kansas, they are kind of it kind of looks like this line might miss us to the north and east, but Berry County definitely has storm chances tonight. So, is there a chance these storms could weaken? That is what I'm hoping for because I want to be here all night. But we'll see. The atmosphere was worked over earlier in the day from those storms, but as you can see, Wichita, Kansas, about to get hit with these storms. You can see that dark orange polygon. That is a considerable tag, and that is because of 70-mile-per-hour winds possible with those storms in central Kansas, and that line looks to be making a track towards us. So you can also see some isolated activity down just south of that line, and then to the east. That is where we could see some hail. So hail is going to be a secondary threat for us, but I still think that the main thing here is going to be the damaging winds, and a non-zero tornado risk can't quite rule that out, even though it is low. Sydney, the time frames and the miles, they've been pretty consistent. So late tonight. So 3 a.m. at the earliest, and then going until about 8 a.m. So that looks to be the timing. And the question is, are these storms still going to be severe? Right now, they are holding strong. Hopefully they weaken as they make its way closer to us. And yeah, Jeremy's right. 70-mile-per-hour winds can definitely snap limbs, pull down power lines. Yeah, that is considerable damage. So we definitely have to be watching these storms closely as we go throughout the overnight hours. And here's a current snapshot, current radar imagery, 11 p.m., showing those storms across central Kansas. Texas Panhandle seeing severe storms too. And then keep in mind that closest severe storm watch to us expires at 3 o'clock in the morning. So still have a ways to go before these storms enter the picture for us. So it's going to be a late night, early morning type deal. Right now it's all quiet. But definitely going to be watching the radar closely for us. I'll show you one last look at the latest hazards. Again, it does look to be like the wind is going to be the main factor for us. So 70-mile-per-hour winds possible. There we go. So damaging winds, that looks to be the main factor for us. Hail, flooding, secondary risk. Flooding, we did have that rain earlier during the morning, so the ground is pretty saturated, but these storms should be moving pretty quickly through, so flooding threat not that high. Again, non-zero tornado risk. Can even break this down even further. So here is the latest risk. And if I go in here, you can see the wind, the day one wind. So the high. So that does include portions of Washington County, Benton County. So that's what we are the most concerned with the winds as these storms make their way through. So that's the damaging wind risk. The hail, a lot less. So as you can see in the low for the hail. So the wind is going to be the main factor. And if you look at the tornado, it doesn't show anything, but you can't rule out tornadoes with these QLCS type setups, with these MCS events. Can't quite rule out the tornado factor. Jeremy, great comment. Just because the tornado risk is very low doesn't mean you need to let your guard down. I wish people would not take very low literally. Yeah, great point. We had a tornado, a confirmed tornado, not too long ago when there wasn't even a risk highlights. So even though the SPC outlook doesn't say that 2% tornado, doesn't mean that we can rule them out. So gonna have to be watching the radar closely tonight. Um, Here's meteorologist Peyton Langford. Paintball shows 6, 7, maybe even 8 for eastern portions of the coverage area. Thank you, Peyton, for that comment. Definitely, the paintballs is great to look at. Yeah, 6, 7. So around daybreak tomorrow morning. So it keeps getting pushed back. So earlier I was kind of thinking 4 a.m. And then I was kind of thinking 5. But I think Peyton is onto something. 6 to 7, maybe even 8. So going to be watching that for sure. Here's the current satellite radar imagery. Let me get rid of all this and then zoom in on these storms. So here is right now. Here is 11:04. This is what's happening. We have some considerable severe storms across central Kansas and a little bit of isolated action out ahead of that line, just south of that line too. And they are moving fast, but they are still a ways away. So if I do a little track here on these storms and have them going this way, you can see Fayetteville 4 or 5 a.m. These storms could slow. This is a very rough estimate. Still a lot has to be ironed out here as these storms make their way south and east. But definitely going to be watching the storm potential as we go throughout the overnight hours. Can give you one more track of the HRRR. Can show. Cindy, do you know when we're about to go on?
No, I'm not quite sure.
You're not quite sure?
Game, so
All right.
You might still have some time.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, so this is the HRRR model. Not showing anything over us. Storms well west of us. And then if you put the map into motion, storms expanding east. And here's 3 o'clock in the morning, still out of the forecast area. This model shows around 5 a.m. entering the picture. The heaviest action around 7. So Peyton said the paintballs said 6 or 7, maybe even 8. I'm definitely buying that based on this model here. And again, the model's in pretty good agreement. So even lingering into late morning, maybe even during the early afternoon, might even see some rain. But at this point in time, should be severe during the morning. We even have a day 2 risk. Can look at that. So here's the day 1, and here is the day 2. So the day 2 a lot less. So this is after 7 a.m. This is post 7 a.m. We have the marginal risk in our far eastern counties. So still could see some isolated severe weather post 7 a.m. But what we have to watch for is tonight into early tomorrow morning for the best chance of those severe storms. So right now, pretty quiet. Mega Doppler showing nothing. Not much over us, just some ground clutter. So pretty quiet weather currently. But as we go throughout the overnights, things could be acting up. Here's another model, the graph model, showing these storms well west of us. So the initiation of this model actually not too bad. And this is showing that line across central Kansas kind of breaking apart. And then that line across the Oklahoma Panhandle kind of making its way through around 5 a.m. This is the graph model. Usually has a early bias, so maybe tack on an extra hour to what this model shows. And then it shows us drying out. So I mean, once these storms exit the area, I do think Sunday will shape up to be a real nice day. So once these storms pass through during the afternoon, we should be in the mid 80s with a slight west breeze. Sun comes out. Yeah. So tomorrow during the afternoon, once all these storms exit the area, should be a nice day. But then we're not quite yet done with those storms. This model is showing storm potential again Monday. This might be overdoing it, but mainly in the river valley along a potential frontal boundary. Could see some more storms Sunday night into Monday morning. That's why I did go 30% in the River Valley for Monday morning for those storms. But again, the main event why we're doing the Facebook Live is these storms right here, and you can see this model is showing them moving in by around 6 or 7. So you can look at what the model is showing. That is the initialization of the model, and here's what's actually happening. So doing a decent job. So the HRRR is doing a decent job with these storms. Kind of showing the HRRR is kind of showing this part kind of missing us, and then this rolling in. So no, that was a little bit confusing, but that squall line north of Wichita, the HRRR kind of had that kind of missing us, and then moving us way to the north. So again, there is some uncertainty as always with this setup, but there is a little bit more energy to work with tonight. Hopefully the atmosphere was yeah, I think Payne's got a good point here. I feel like they may weaken just based on less instability over us. So yeah, we did have a whole lot of rain this morning. I don't know if you slept through it, but we could take a look at that. So check out what happened this morning. So here's 8 a.m. We had rain, and then those storms across northeast Oklahoma were very severe. Thankfully, they dropped off just in time before they reached us. And then northwest Arkansas saw a lot of rain. Some areas up to 2 inches of rain this morning. Looks like we even saw potentially some showers during the early afternoon. And then after that, the forecast was dry throughout the whole day. And when it was a beautiful day, especially in northwest Arkansas, the atmosphere was very worked over. Not a whole lot of instability right now, and there is some convective inhibition in place too. So that most likely will be a mitigating factor for these storms. But energy is forecast to move in, and the dew points. Let's see what kind of moisture we have to work with. Yeah, so you can see that the moisture definitely did make its way back in. The precipitable water values probably pretty high, probably around 1.5 right now. So we have seen worse, but Alexis Western Grove area. So yeah, I really do think that the whole forecast area does have a chance of these storms as we go throughout the overnight. So here's the day one outlook. Yeah, Western Grove is in that slight risk. So I don't think anybody can have their guard down late tonight into early tomorrow morning. Definitely severe storm chances for us. Lillian's asking about Siloam. Siloam Springs looks to be in the enhanced risk of severe weather. So yeah, definitely expecting storms for those two areas. We can do one more timing on that just in case we got some people who just joined. And the reason why we're doing this Facebook Live, nothing imminent. So nothing within the next hour. So we got these storms across Kansas. Kansas just getting hammered. Had a couple of lines of storms making their way through, and these storms are making their way towards us. So you can see if I take a step back and take a step forward, storms heading our way, and can put the map into motion. Here's a computer model showing the storms approaching the area at 3 o'clock in the morning. And then around 5 a.m., storm chances really going up. 5, 6, 7, 8, good chance of storms. and then falling off as we go throughout the morning hours. Yeah. So here's just a little precipitation timeline for Northwest Arkansas. You can see it peaking at 80% as we go throughout the overnight. So again, it's going to be a late night, early morning type deal. But if you compare it to what we saw last night, I think there's a better chance that we get some severe storms. Peyton is saying there's a lot of downdraft Cape. So when storms collapses, we should see fairly strong winds. Yeah, so downdraft Cape. Yeah, so when we have that, we have to watch out from strong damaging winds, and that is what we seem to have tonight. And the jet stream energy is a little bit more over us, because if you look at the jet stream, the flow over us is a lot stronger. So we're seeing the high pressure ridge. It has retreated down into Mexico. So because of that, we have the jet stream energy over us, and so that means that the winds over us are stronger. If you get some downdrafts, I was reading in the National Weather Service chat. I think they were saying that the upper level winds around 50 to 60 knots. So yeah, if you convert that to miles per hour, 70 mile per hour. If you get some downdrafts and advect that wind to the surface, definitely could see some damaging winds as we go throughout the overnight hours. So that's just another reason why we have to watch tonight, because we do have a little bit more energy over us. And yeah, here's the latest SPC risk. So we got the enhanced risk of severe storms, including portions of Benton and Washington County, most areas in the slight. So again, the whole area is going to be seeing the potential for these storms as we go from late night into early tomorrow morning. So yeah, if you have any more questions, feel free to chime in. We're going to be having a show on Fox 24 once the soccer game is over, so you can tune into that to get one last look at the forecast for tonight. I'm going to be talking about that during that show. Just reading some comments now. So yeah, here's the risk. So storm chances tonight into early tomorrow morning. So feel free to tune in to Fox 24. And
okay, I'm taking them all.
you were having questions about rain totals. All right, we're going to be on the air right now at Fox 24. So we're going to end this broadcast. Make sure to stay safe, and we'll be on if we have to be back. Have a great night.